But ACTH raises cortisol and CLIP raises insulin. What does that even mean? Cortisol, it wakes you up. It's kind of this fight or flight response, but it protects you against stress. You need this, but at the right times. One thing it does, it mobilizes all your energy stores. So it gets sugar from your liver and puts it into your bloodstream. And then insulin, what does insulin do? It takes that sugar in your bloodstream and it brings it into your cells so your cells could use it as energy. So you want your cells to be sensitive to insulin. That way you only need a little bit of insulin to get a lot of sugar in your cells to use as energy. But if you keep releasing insulin and keep releasing insulin, eventually your cells become insensitive to it, and this leads to diabetes. Now you might be thinking, okay, Anton, so what you're telling me is this frequency of light, just this blue light, I haven't even put anything in my mouth yet, is making me more prone to diabetes? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Look at this. Type 2 diabetes risk was higher in people exposed to bright light at night and in people exposed to light patterns that disrupt their circadian rhythms. Avoiding light at night could be a simple and cost-effective recommendation that mitigates the risk of diabetes, even with those in high genetic risk. And this is how this happens. You get those LEDs, which are those blue lights unbalanced by red light. Your photoreceptors see this, and it disrupts your circadian rhythm, telling you to release insulin. This makes you hungrier, it makes you fatter, and it gives you diabetes. And this isn't fair. You don't even get your favorite snacks, you don't get your Mexican Coca-Cola or your favorite cookies, and you're raising your blood sugar. You haven't even put anything into your mouth yet, and you're already at a higher risk of diabetes just because of that blue light. This was a mind shift for me. I didn't even know that a frequency of light could be like eating food or exercising. It's not fair. What else does blue light do? We gotta realize we need blue light at the right times, and we need it to be balanced by red and infrared light. Blue light makes up 25% of that light spectrum. Red light and infrared light make up about 50. So it's not even a balance. Red light is 2 to 1 in a ratio. So what does blue light do? It destroys melatonin. And we all think of melatonin as you take it for sleeping, maybe jet lag, but melatonin is not just for sleep. It's, quote, the hormone of darkness, and it prepares us for sleep. It regenerates our cells, so we want more of this at night. But it also makes your mitochondria more efficient. It acts as a strong antioxidant that is as powerful, if not more powerful, than vitamin E and C and glutathione and all that stuff. It also antagonizes aromatase. Aromatase basically turns testosterone into estrogen. If you inhibit this, you are stopping that estrogen creation. This is huge for breast cancer specifically, or if you have any sort of estrogen dominance issues. It also stimulates your immune system, and it acts as an antagonist to cortisol. And you also need it to set your circadian rhythm. This is just melatonin. All these benefits, you're destroying this when you're turning on blue light at night. So we know blue light destroys this, but how do we maximize our melatonin to get all these benefits, this anti-cancer and everything? One, we need to know that melatonin starts with this amino acid called tryptophan. And amino acid is a building block for proteins. So those proteins you eat, they can get broken down into these building blocks. And some of these amino acids, they could actually take energy from the sun to help them make their products faster. And tryptophan is one of them. You could see that tryptophan turns into serotonin, which turns into melatonin. So UV light, especially in the morning, it sets the rhythm for you to produce melatonin at night. So if you get the UV light during the day, at nighttime, your melatonin making enzymes, they turn on and they allow that serotonin to convert to melatonin, and then you have that very regenerative and restful sleep. So when is melatonin made? It's made in your eye in the morning during that UVA rise. We're gonna talk about this in more detail later. But it's not just melatonin that gets powered by sunlight. Some of these hormones are ridiculous. You have things like your thyroid hormone. This is what keeps you energized. This is what keeps you skinny. It helps your metabolism. Melanin, the thing that gets you tan with all those benefits. You know, everybody's saying they need a dopamine detox. Their dopamine receptors are fried. And you could create a lot more dopamine a lot easier if you're in the sunlight, because dopamine is powered by the sun. And then finally, you could create histamine. This is erythema. This is what sunburn is. And then urocanic acid, this acts as another layer of internal sunscreen. Now, what else does blue light do? It can destroy your light receptors. So That unbalanced blue light is very powerful. It's one step away from the UV that gives you sunburn. So this unbalanced blue light can basically hit your light receptors and this frees this toxic form of vitamin A, and that vitamin A now does damage and destroys your light receptors. This could have a lot of different effects. One major one is it can stop you from making vitamin D. So if you think you're in the sun all the time and you have all the nutrients you need to make vitamin D, but your vitamin D levels are still low, it's because your blue light toxic. You have too much blue light unbalanced by that red and infrared light. And then destroying light receptors also just makes it harder for your body to set that circadian rhythm. And then blue light damages your energy production. It increases the reactive oxygen species that are created when you're making energy. You could think about it as exhaust from a car. When this exhaust becomes more than the energy created, you get that cell death, you get DNA damage. AKA, this excessive ROS contributes to aging. Excessive blue light makes you age faster. And I want to say blue light isn't a demon. We need it in the sun when it's balanced out by red and infrared light.